Welcome to another episode of Black Like Me. Harvey here, one of the co hosts. Josh, tell them about you and what we do here at
I'll
Black
start
Like
by saying, yeet.
Me.
Hey, what's up? I'm Josh,
Yeah.
aka J Time, and this is Black Like Me. And so this is a Men Are the Prize production. Me and Harvey were sitting around one day and we were just talking about some of the issues that arose with our childhood of growing up black, but not necessarily fitting in what's considered black culture. And our stories were very similar. And so we got together and we said, hey, let's talk about this because I'm sure there's other people out there that have similar stories. And so it's evolved into just talk about the black experience in America, whatever that looks like for you and what it looks like for us. And we've covered many topics, and today we're covering a fun one.
All right. And as expected, as usual, as enjoyable as it is when it's just me and Josh, we always like to have guests.
Hmm.
And when we get a black man on here, one that we love and respect. We got him on the one, the only, the legend, the myth, the count, the myth, the knight, all the titles, whatever I'm gonna call him.
He's a
Corporate man,
lord.
Lord Diandre. What's going on, D?
Big shout out to Scotland and all that kind of good shit. Uh, my name is Diandre Robinson, host of Masturbators with the lovely young man Josh over there. And I'm very, very happy to talk about being black in this beautiful, great, again, country of ours.
Mm. All right, let's get to it. We haven't said what the topic is, and I'm going to introduce a topic. I'm going to do with a little bit of a story. I'm older than my compatriots here. I was born in 74. In
By
the
far.
Yeah, by much older. Yes. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and I loved watching TV and TV theme songs and shows and such. There's one particular day that resonates with the subject for me that we're talking about. That date is August the 9th of 1992. On that day, I was watching. Maybe that this might be wrong. The date of this particular event versus when I saw it might be two different dates.
Okay.
But this thing happened on August the 9th. I was watching TBS. I was watching Saturday night's main event. I was watching NWA, or it probably was WCW by this time. We're talking about professional wrestling. On August the 9th, 1992, Ron Simmons was the first black man to win and was first recognized black man to win the world championship. In this case, he won the WCW world championship by beating Big Van Vader. I watched wrestling for years. I love the Horsemen. I love the old school stuff. But for the first time watching this entertainment, the person who was at the top of the mountain looked just like me.
Mm.
And that meant something to me as a black kid watching this sport.
Hmm.
Our discussion, our topic is professional wrestling, and more specifically, black representation in professional wrestling. The
Yeah.
three of us love wrestling, so we're not going to have a problem talking about this, but I just kind of wanted to start there. For me, that's still my favorite moment in professional wrestling ever. I'll let either one of you jump in with maybe answering that question. Do either one of you have a moment in professional wrestling, your favorite moment, and it has to, it fits in terms of identity and how it felt good to see somebody like us in the business?
Yeah, I'll go next, man. I know for me, I didn't discover wrestling until the late '90s. I discovered it. I'd seen it on here and there, especially living in Portland, which is a big wrestling city out here. But I never really got into it. And then I remember being at my cousin's one day, and they had WWE on, and it was at the peak of the Attitude Era. DX was coming out. They had the Nation. You got The Rock, Stone Cold, and I was just like, I remember just being enamored. I was like, this is amazing. This is so cool, and I fell in love with it, and I've been watching ever since. But that event that you had, that watershed moment of being able to watch a black champion, um, I was spoiled a little bit because I had The Rock. And The Rock, even though he's not full black, he's black. And so I got to see him as champion. But the times where I got to see Black Road champions were very few and far between. I mean, we had some Mark Henry stuff, we had New Day, but I remember most recently the part that I really was just like, this is so cool. You have all these really amazing factions in WWE. And at one point in time, they put together a faction. It was Bobby Lashley, it was MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and who's the other guy in the Hurt Business? Why can I not remember his name?
Cedric.
Yes, Cedric. There we go. Cedric Alexander doing the Hurt Business. And man, it was good because they was serious. They wore the suits. They was doing their thing. And I loved it because it was one of the first times I can remember where I just saw a real legit black stable that wasn't out there dancing, hucking and jiving. That was about business. Unfortunately, it didn't last because WWE broke it up. And there's various reasons behind the scenes, no official reasons, but they ain't in WWE anymore. You can watch them on AEW though, as the Hurt Syndicate. What is it, Hurt Syndicate?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Agreed. What about you, D?
We need to talk about the Chuck and driving with black wrestlers.
Oh, definitely.
We will.
Hopefully. So sorry, again, I put a background, but my favorite wrestler, top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time, is Kofi. That's kind of truth. SOS, small SOS Kofi, boom, boom, Kofi. Even before New Day, Kofi is my favorite wrestler, one of my favorite wrestlers. And watching the New Day, people don't remember when New Day first said they were going to join together. It was serious.
They were heels, yeah.
No, but they wasn't coming out doing this shit.
They was serious. Yeah, they had the blue outfits.
No, even for the blue outfits. When Kofi lost and Big E lost that one time on Raw, and then when what's face came to talk to him, they had suits. They were wearing suits as well. They were serious. So no, at least he was serious. But then they came out with the New Day, and then it was heels. There was goofy heels, but it was heels. But they got the job done. That's one of the favorite black moments. Because I shit on. I'm sorry, Chris. I mess with Harvey a lot. We're talking about because he wants. No, I don't care what Harvey says. He wants everybody to go heel. That's him. But and I mess with him a lot. But heel New Day was freaking amazing. Sorry, was freaking amazing. Heel New Day was amazing. And because it was people that, and you had to love them. That's why you had to turn them face, because they got 2 big ass heels. You had to turn them face, and they came out like lovable, but they still screw you over. They had Triple H dancing. They had Stephanie dancing. They had the Bootios and all that kind of good shit. It was just a good time. Francine, it was just a good time. By the way, box of Bootios, I would never buy them. It was just $14 a box. It was $14 a box. All right, but it was just a good time. Again, we're talking about black people dancing and wrestling soon. But the New Day, Kofi, one of my favorite black memories that I have.
That's what's up. That's a good memory. I like that pick.
All right, one thing a good way for us to talk about this is to talk about how black wrestlers are perceived, how they are shown in wrestling. And Dee kind of mentioned that. And it's just to say, this is not just a wrestling thing. This is essentially black people in entertainment in general. And wrestling is just a small part of entertainment. When you bring black to anything, movies, TVs, up until recently, we were brought out and we were the same. If it's a movie and it's a black actor, he's a drug dealer, he's a mobster or something, we were always the same guy. Professional wrestling is very much the same. When it comes to wrestling, and I was thinking about it beforehand, and stuff came to me. Nation of Domination is an important group, but I hated it. I was never a fan of that group. If you think about it, Men on a Mission, blatantly racist. If you remember what MOM was, ridiculous. Crime Time, ridiculous.
Yep.
The New Day I liked, but if you think about their start, and this is very much a Vince McMahon thing, we black people, for some reason, we are incredibly religious. So the whole idea is there was kind of power positivity, but a heel kind of thing. So if you remember, Big E's father is a pastor, so and for some reason they thought he had no personality when he probably has more personality than the other two in the group. So it's very much this preacher's son kind of talking all this stuff that they kind of throw on black wrestlers instead of just putting them out there as wrestlers.
Right.
Yeah, so let's talk about that for a minute. Either one of you guys, just run with it. How it took us a while for us to go from becoming black wrestlers to wrestlers who were just black.
Well, and here's the thing. It's been going on and it's still going on. Devon Dudley, when the Dudley boys split, what they do? Make him Reverend Devon. And if you didn't have some kind of religious thing or a dancing thing, you were made fun of and silly. Mark Henry, world's strongest man. It took forever before we got the Mark Henry we should have gotten originally. Instead, we had sexual chocolate Mark Henry sleeping with Moolah, and it's just been ridiculous. And even now, we have the Street Profits. And the most popular they ever been was when they was coming out there dancing with the solo cups, Bianca Belair, I love her to death, and she is serious, but she still comes out there doing her dance, And so it is frustrating because it feels like if you aren't going to shuck and jive, they ain't got time for you. If you are serious or you're trying to be serious, you don't last long. Apollo Crews tried to be serious. It wasn't getting over with the fans, so they made him have that kind of African gimmick. And then soon after that, what is he doing now? He's jobbing, and they don't take good care of the black characters, I feel like, unless they're doing the dancing thing.
The dancing thing does get on my nerves because every last one of those black people has to dance or has to have someone that dance. Dance for him. Even with Devon, when he was a double, and this is not a WWE thing, but we with the Dudley Boys, just them two. Bubba Ray came out serious. Devon was just dancing all around them and shit, like all the shit. Yeah, I remember that. Like Devon was the energetic character, but he danced all around them. The New Day came out dancing. Like you said, the Street Profits came out dancing. Sasha came out dancing.
Yeah.
Street Profits' wife, Bianca, came out dancing. Jay doesn't come out dancing that much. She the glow, but you get the glow. She literally has she was in a black light dancing, twerking by the way. If you was in outside of one person, if you was in the 90s, late 90s, Attitude Era, if you were black, a woman, you were a hoe. You were in the whole train. You were a whole train. And I want to say that even though I showed WWE a lot, it's not just WWE. Even in AEW, Swerve doesn't dance. We has a whole.
No, it's ridiculous. And
so yeah. So if you are a black man, black wrestler, you need to have personality, and the personality that they want you to have is shucking and driving.
Right. Agreed. And we know
WB Frog.
No, and the messed up part is this is a WWE thing. Because if you look at
WWE.
it's not just the WWE thing, but WWE does it the worst. Because if you look at AEW and you look at TNA, yes, they have black people dancing, jiving, and all that, but they also have black people that are a little more serious. One of the best champions I've seen in AEW was Serve.
Remember what I just said though, not to cut you off, but even with Swerve, he has a manager that dances.
Right.
Yeah, the whole time, person not come out. That's Swerve winning that job. And he got all the white people doing it in the crowd. It's not the W because they got Private Party. They have what the other No. The Private Party is actually tag champions in AEW now. We got the guy that raps the fake ass John Cena.
Yeah, what's his name? Stark? Ricky Stark?
No. Even Stark did the dance when he came out. No, what's about the tag team? Scissor Me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Them.
I mean,
I don't remember what
yeah.
their names are.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, a lot of black people in here. That's not the Hurt Snake Kid. They have either a dance person with them or a stereotype with them as well. It's not just WWE. It is AEW as well. I want to say that right now.
Well, that's wrestling in general, to be fair. So I think for me, the reason I've always had an issue with it is, and I guess this can lead into the next conversation, is with professional wrestling. I think every company is looking for that person to be the face of the company. They're looking for that person to be at the top. If we look at the history of wrestling, and I'll start from a little bit before me. So WWF it's Hogan. Then they tried to, then it's Ultimate Warrior, and they went this route. They're trying to find that star, the person to drag the company along. The idea of a company having a black person as the face of the company has always been an issue. And I'll ask either one of you this, and we, like I said, this conversation can go anywhere. Aside from The Rock, has there been a black wrestler, male or female, that has been the face of a company?
The Rock was never faced the company. I will go down that grave. The Rock was never a face of the company. Rock was always number 2.
He was.
He never the face.
I will say yes, there was. Not in truth, but in gimmick. Because let's be real, John Cena became the face of that company on a black gimmick.
Damn right.
He portrayed an African-American gimmick that they could have gave to another wrestler, and he'd been the face. And John Cena ran that shit into the ground.
Mm-hmm. So true. We don't want the black lead, but you know what it is? It's very much that there are a lot of people out there who like being black until it's time to be black. It's the same thing with the professional wrestling thing. We black people, what we do, we create culture. We make things cool. Very much with the clothing, the music, whatever. So you get all of that with Cena without actually having to worry about the racism.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Cena was. He was the epitome of it. He was on the end. He was about to be done in this business. And lucky for him, apparently he can freestyle. And I will say that he was basic in terms of his freestyle. He was all right.
It was horrible.
And then with that, they ran with him. And that's the reason. And you guys have talked to me and heard me talk about wrestling. That's the reason I hate Cena. So
once you explained it to me, once you finally broke it down for me, I understood exactly why you hate Cena. And I can't disagree with that. You're 100% on the money.
Yeah, it's crazy. How many black people were there and who could have done that? But you took it and the whole wigger idea. He was a wigger. That's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Stuck him out front. He's coming out in the jerseys. He's rapping. He's talking that talk. And all of a sudden, he's the head of the company. That's, I think, something to consider. Characters. That's the thing. So instead of making us the top, we're caricatures of blackness. That's what they did that's what Nation of Domination. And I hated that group too. They took a whole idea, something like the heart of the civil rights movement, and they made it a wrestling faction.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that there were stars in that group, which is great, but you could have done that without you could have done it without making fun of something that was so important to black people and to this country.
Oh yeah. And then I hate to admit, because I was a young dumb kid too, and I loved them. But one of the most popular characters added to their Godfather.
Yeah.
They took him and gave him a
pimp. Made him a pimp.
Oath and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I will play devil's advocate. Sorry, I'm gonna throw that background, but I'll do play devil's advocate with Cena. I'm not Cena here to like everybody. I just want to make sure everybody knows. I'll say this right now.
Okay.
I hate Cena because of the gimmick. I don't blame Cena because of the gimmick. I don't blame Cena for that. You gotta blame WWE for that. He was on his way. He was on his way out. Like Harvey said, they gave him that gimmick. He had to take it to run with it, and he had to take run with it because he know that the black people who did that, white fans would never with him. You had to put a white person on that gimmick to make it bigger because if it was a black person in that gimmick, it wouldn't have hit hard for white fans. I don't blame Cena for the gimmick. I do hate Cena because of the gimmick. I want to say that right now. That's my devil's advocate.
And I agree because Cena doing that made it safe. It wouldn't have been considered safe, and people wouldn't have been comfortable with him doing all those jokes if it had been a black wrestler. I mean, we talked about that with music. You know, Cena doing it made people like, oh, it's a white guy. I can enjoy this and go along with it more. And it made him more over than I think it would have been if they had tried to do the same thing with an actual African American wrestler.
I think with Cena, it wasn't even a thought. I think what you did is you just put he was just that character. So I don't even think the white fans were like, oh wow, he's making it cool. It was just, oh, he's cool. As
Yep.
usual, when it comes to it, because he took black culture. And we know, and we as hip-hop fans and fans of whatever music, we know that we are 99% of hip-hop music in terms of our creation, in terms of the characters who's making the music, but we're maybe 20-25% of the people who purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
So while Cena was the face of it, oh, hip hop and all that stuff, he was just representing us to a whole bigger group of people who liked that music anyway. It was just he made that relatable.
He did.
If you think about it, as a white kid or a white guy who thought he could rap and whatever, who did everything, it was so ridiculous. I'm watching it, and originally I was a fan, but it took a little while for me to understand why I disliked it. And I think every week he's coming out, he's got the chain on, and the chain gang. We know that chain gang, that stuff is from jail. That's what that is from. He's wearing the jerseys because that's all we are. We're athletes. He's rapping because that's all we are. We're entertainers. He's got the sneakers on, and before he does the FU, before they changed it, he's got to pump up his sneakers and all this stuff that he did. It was blatant. And the more I saw it, the more I'm like, y'all making fun of us with this dude. You're playing around with this dude. And then to hear and see him talk, and he's not that guy at all. He is completely, and I'm not even going to say he's this super uber white, but he's suits. He's just proper talk. He's from Boston. He's this uber man of the Caucasus Mountains type of dude.
Yeah.
Super. But to play this part, it aggravated the hell out of me. You were so playing a part, and there were so many better people. And then on top of that, he was so good at that character that the fact that he is as in the ring was irrelevant. The character was so good that the fact that he had 5-6 moves in the ring made it important. And the fact that he was solid on the mic, okay.
But you gotta realize, I mean, if you have a good character, that will mask your bullshit in the bullshit in the ring. Because I'm gonna give you some professional wrestlers that had great characters, but was ass in the fucking ring. First thing first, Hulk Hogan, horrible in the goddamn ring. Roman Reigns, who I love, is horrible in the goddamn ring.
Well, I may disagree with you on that.
I no, and I'm the biggest Roman Reigns fan. Everybody knows that for the passion. He's like in my top 5, kind of true, but he's not good in the ring. If you have a good character, a really good character. Ultimate Warrior was a good character, horrible in the ring. You said that they want something about the Undertaker. You think you could go now?
Yeah, but he could go though. See, he could go.
You said no. I didn't find that clip. I didn't find it. You said it. I said couldn't go.
I'll tell you exactly what I said. The Undertaker is the greatest character wrestling has ever seen. That's the greatest character. But for a man who's 6'9", 6'10", he's solid for his size. He could work in the ring, but he's not a great worker. What he is somebody whose character was brilliant. So much so that you're right, it masked him in the ring. Listen, I remember him in WCW. We remember, I'm older than you guys. I remember him as Mean Mark. I remember him in tag team. I remember when Paul Heyman was managing him. I remember them there. And he was solid in the ring. He was doing the old school thing, walking on the ropes in WCW/NWA. He wasn't bad. We can get back. A good character can mask your deficiencies in the ring. And that's what Cena did. My issue was that you could have done that with Ron Killings. You could have done that. Shelton, it wouldn't have worked out, but Shelton is maybe the best pure wrestler we've ever had. But because he didn't have that character, because he didn't have that charisma, They couldn't do anything with him. And I think that's the thing to go. When you have wrestlers, good black wrestlers who were just good in the ring, but they weren't black enough, they didn't know what to do with them. And that's what Shelton's problem was. Shelton is as good as Brock any day.
Yeah, but they didn't build him like a Brock. Instead,
right.
What they do? Oh, bring in his mama. We gonna dye his hair gold, call him the gold standard. If they would have gave him a serious thing, even if they gave him not serious, did him like Chad Gable. Look at Chad Gable. They did the same shit with him. They could have been successful, but instead we got bullshit. And then every freaking Royal Rumble, oh, what's he gonna do to get out of the ring until they pass out the coffee? You know.
It's true. I remember thinking Shelton was. They recognized what they had. He's an amazing athlete. He still is now. Watching him in AEW, he's still in a ridiculous shape. He's phenomenal. And I think they actually really recognized what he was, and they tried. The problem is they just went the racist way and said, you know what? Make him a heel, make him a badass heel, and give him a mouthpiece. And then do it. I know you say I always go the heel route, but
and you did, and you just did.
Right. But here's the thing. He's not good on the mic. If you're going to make a star out of him, get the mic out of his hand. And when you're a face, you got to be able to talk. So make him a heel, give him somebody else to talk for him. And they could have ran with him for years. Brock wasn't great on the mic. They gave him Paul Heyman. Right. So he's essentially that guy. But what they did instead, when they decided to give him a mouthpiece, they brought a black comedian. They brought her in and made her ridiculous.
And honestly, he never fully recovered from that, even when he was in the Hurt Business, because we all remember ridiculous Shelton Benjamin. And it made it really hard for the fans to ever take him serious at that point.
Yeah. And just by the way, he liked the gold standard. That shtick, he liked it. He actually is the one that did his hair. He liked that run, but it ends up, the fact is, they can't separate the fact that he's black. That the blackness from a lot of these from the wrestlers. I will kind of transition a little bit here. They've done better when it comes to the women. It took them a while to get there because all women in professional wrestling were just eye candy, and that's what they were for the longest time. Whether it is, I'm trying to think who. Well, Moolah, because she ran wrestling as the woman, but WWF, it was all of them were just there because they were hot. And when they
were divas.
Yeah, they were divas. They weren't even wrestlers. When they finally started making their way into, you know what, we actually have some performers here, and they started doing it, then you've got Sasha, and we've got Bianca, and we've got Jade now, and we've got actual wrestlers. They've done pretty well with the black women, which I would respectively say. But sadly, it took a long time to do that. But every one of them at some point has to come out and dance and do something. And while that may be part of their personality, I don't know if WWF could do something if Sasha didn't come out and do her little dance when she came out to her music, or if Bianca didn't shake her ass a little bit and slap her ass every time she came out. And of course, the long hair and such. There's all these remnants of the black part that they kind of focus on that kind of makes it hard to watch it. Because to me, Bianca is that black wrestler instead of the wrestler who's black.
Yeah, I mean, how many times has she been like, what? Oh, no, girl, you don't even go here and take off her earrings, in the backstage segments.
They ran with it. Yeah. They know what they were doing. And I just want to see wrestlers come out and just be themselves. If you think about what they've done, I'm trying to think of black wrestlers. For example, when they brought Ron Simmons in, and we kind of talked about let's talk about Nation of Domination. Let's just get into that. So you bring Ron Simmons in, and he at first had this stupid ass helmet on.
Yeah,
he was Farouk.
Yeah, the gladiator type character.
It was terrible. Had him out. We knew who he was. Everybody knew who the hell Ron Simmons was, but they did this dumbass thing because WWF has to own the character. That's what they bring him in. Then he's all of a sudden this militant black man. So then you have him and that whole group, and then I guess they didn't really know what to do with Mark Henry. Instead of just having him go out there and beat the hell out of people because he was bigger than everyone and he was a beast, but not the best talker, just put him out there in a group. The problem, that's the issue I had with that group. I couldn't take it seriously. If nothing else, The Rock goes in there and he takes it over, and that's like how he becomes a star, because basically he takes over the group and becomes the man. The Rock didn't need that. He could have done that and come out of any group.
Not to mention, it led to us, unfortunately, having to see DX in blackface.
Of course. Yeah.
Don't blame the Nation on Mission for that.
I'm not blaming the nation. No, I'm not blaming the nation for that. I said it led to it. It wasn't the nation's fault, but it led to it. It was WWE's fault. I'm not blaming the nation. I said it led to it. I'm not blaming it.
Let's make it clear.
I'm not blaming them. I'm saying it led to it.
Yeah, let's make that clear.
Yeah.
Let's clear this up. We recognize when it comes to actors, singers, performers, that they're going to be put in positions where they have to do what they're told. Because in the end, they're playing characters and they're running storylines that are being told them. So they have to do what they have to do. John Cena as the man is actually a really good person. He's amazing what he's done with kids. He was the best face ever. And I think that was him. The character was annoying as hell. And in the end, I can blame Vince McMahon for that. So I hate John Cena, the wrestling character, the guy, different issue. Nation of Domination, those wrestlers were put in a group, and this is what they were supposed to do. I don't blame Ron Simmons for having to play that part. I don't blame Ahmed Johnson for after eventually playing that part and being in the group for 2 weeks and then kicking him out. I don't blame Godfather, Papa Shango, whatever they wanted to call him, and put him in the group and do it. I don't blame Owen Hart for being in the group also at the end too. There's a whole lot of crap that they did. So let's clear that up. For whatever we're talking about in terms of wrestling, remember.
Don't forget D'Lo. How the disrespect to D'Lo.
I'm not. I'm just bringing people up. It's just in general, these men were playing parts. That wasn't really them. They were just doing what they were supposed to do. That's D'Lo. You remember when they first had that group, they had that one black guy. He was supposed to be the attorney. I forgot what his name was. And he was one walking. They had them in the suits. They had basically as the Black Nation of Islam, which is insane that was a storyline, that was a faction, and they let that run because they didn't care. So they I don't know. They took blackness and they ran with it.
So I do want to play devil advocate though one more time. Okay.
Yeah.
I 1,000% agree with you. I want to say that right now. I want to say that everywhere as you said, I agree. However, though, I do wonder what path these men would have took if they didn't have that faction. Farouk Ron Simmons was already world champion WCW, but mind you, when they made his faction, those guys you didn't even know were going downhill. So he was on the downhill. The Rock was even on the downhill for that. He didn't even have a fucking finisher before he got to the nation. He had that dumbass roll up or whatever she was. Well, that shit was. He didn't even have a finisher. D'Lo had helped him crack the people's elbow and the people's elbow and the rock bottom. I'm wondering what would happen if they didn't have. I'm deciding right now. I'm trying to put my brains decided to make lemonade for this one right here.
That's what happened.
For this right here. He had lemons, and I'm not even 100% sure if they want to do this, but he had lemons. He said, "If you want to do it, fuck it. We're going to do it to the best of our ability." And they got to showcase what they all could do. We all knew what except for Farouk / Ron Simmons could do. He was world champion. He can go. I mean, Johnson was probably new at the time. For 2 weeks, we found out it boosted him a little bit. Whole train, he could actually go in the ring, but nobody knew that he can go in the ring. D'Lo was one of the most underrated person in the rings. Period. To me, down the truth, he wasn't probably the best European champion of all time.
Oh yeah,
got truth. He could go. I was listening to another podcast that said D'Lo was hot at one point in time. You could have put the belt on him with that a little bit. He was hot. So I'm decided. Like again, I agree with everything that Harvey said. However, I'm decided to make the lemons and lemonade because we don't know where these men careers would have gone if they went a different route and not the nation.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100% because everything Harvey said is right, for sure. But at the same time, the sad part is everything you said is right, and yet even without that, it would have been worse for those men. Because let's be real, the problem is WWE and a lot of the wrestling companies in general. Because when it comes to taking care of representation of Black men and women in wrestling, WWE does not want them to be the face of the company. Hell, they don't want them to be the champions. I mean, look, I did research before I came in here. Let me break this down to you. Okay. When it comes to WWE champions, so women's tag team champion right now are the only black champions in WWE right now. Because right now you have Bianca Belair and Jade, who won it in August, and they've held it for about 77 days. And the last black champions that were women's tag team champions before them was them when they won it before on May 4th. If you look at the WWE tag team champions, the last time you had black WWE tag team champions was on October 12th of 2020, 1,496 days ago, and it was the Street Profits. And the only black champions before them was the New Day, who won it from, who the Street Profits won it from on the 9th of October. They only had it for 3 days before they lost it to the Street Profits. If you look at the World Tag Team Champions, you had one sooner because Awesome Truth won it at WrestleMania, right?
Half.
Yeah, but that's half, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it was AJ and Omos. Once again, half. And that was back in April of 2021. To find a full black tag team that won the World Tag Team titles, you have to go back to March of 2021 when the New Day won it. And that's just the tag champs. If you look at Intercontinental, Ricochet was the last black Intercontinental champion, and he won that back in March of 2022. And before that was Apollo Crews back in 2021. You look at the U.S. title, the last time we had a black United States champion was Bobby Lashley, and that was 868 days ago, July 2nd of 2022. Now, with the women's titles, that's a little bit better, mostly because of Bianca Belair. She was the last women's world heavyweight champion, and that was back in April of 2021, over 1,316 days ago. As far as the WWE Women's Champion, Bianca was the last one of those, and that was back in May 5th of 2023. So over 561 days ago. And when you get to the actual world champions, it's so much worse. So let's start with the WWE Universal Undisputed Championship. And because it's 2 championships, I had to break it down to both. So the last actual WWE champion that was black was Bobby Lashley. He won the belt on January 29th of 2022, over 1,022 days ago. Had it for 21 days. Before him, it was Big E, who won it September 13th of 2021 and had it for 110 days. Now, if you look at the Universal Championship, the last black championship to hold the Universal Championship, there hasn't been one. The championship was established August 21st of 2016, and for 3,009 days as of now, there has not been a black Universal Champion. The World Heavyweight Champion, the newest title, came into existence. First person to win it was May 27th of 2023. 539 days that champion's been around. Not a single black person has won that championship. It's ridiculous. WWE does not value black people. They recently got into some shit because people were like, hey, you have not had a black person compete for a title outside of the women's tag champions on a PLE in forever. So finally, we got Carmelo Hayes on Bad Blood as part of the triple threat for the United States Championship, right? To find the last time a black man competed for a championship in WWE outside of when Carmelo did it, you got to go all the way back to WrestleMania when R-Truth was in the tag title match. The last time a black man competed in a single world championship match in WWE was all the way back in January of 2022 when Lashley won the title from Brock.
There's a lot to that. So
are we just hold on. So, sorry. Are we just talking main roster?
Yeah, that's what I said. Main roster. I'm not including NXT because NXT's development. If you include NXT, you definitely got some stuff going on. But that's the only way they will put belts on us for long periods of time in NXT where it's development.
Sorry, I didn't hear the main roster part, but that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, no. I definitely will acknowledge Trick. But the sad part is Trick will probably come up to the main roster. He may get a United States champion. He may get an Intercontinental title. And who knows? Maybe he'll get a World Championship. But more than likely, he's probably going to be middle of the roster. Even though he's holding it down right now.
Yeah. Keep in mind, and I don't want to fall too far off the point, Trick, who was great as basically the sidekick for Carmelo. We were talking about how sometimes a character kind of masks, but character also, something as simple as a theme song can make a star out of you. Trick was okay. You change his theme, and all of a sudden, sort of like with John Cena, he's super cool. Right. And now, then you see his ascension. And let's be honest, I like Trick. He's not great in the ring. He's okay in the ring, but he's a good character, and he fits that. And you're probably right. When you bring him to the main roster, he's going to get exposed, because the last thing I want is him with the mic in his hand. He's not that dude. He doesn't need to be speaking. Not yet. He needs some time. But we have to remember developmental. You're right about that, because I think at times they put the belt on somebody to see how they can handle the pressure, what you can do. First time they made him champ, it was surprising they just took the belt off of him and put it on Ego, which I'm like, what was the point of that?
On some bullshit.
Why? I take the for him, and if they say they did all that just to put the belt back on him, Ego was that was dumb. I understand that, but
you know why though? There's a reason. There's a conspiracy why they did that, and I laughed at it. But if it's true, then it's fucking stupid. They did it because they took Ego from AEW, and they wanted to make sure that they know AEW they could play a championship on him. But it didn't work out. Nobody likes Ethan Page. Like nobody does. Even the AEW, nobody likes Ego. Even AEW's fucking sister station, Ring of Honor, nobody liked Ethan Page. He's not a likable person. To have even a heel or not, this heel that you love, i.e. Bloodline and Wyatt family and like I said, New Day, all that kind of stuff. Heels that you love,
but even you love to hate, like the Miz.
Love to hate, but yeah, like the Miz. It just he's not that guy. Like he so taking that belt off him was fucking stupid. Freaking stupid.
It was. Yeah, it was.
I agree. 100%.
You could.
I was kind of shocked. Yeah. And obviously they realized they fucked up because they put it back on Trick.
Yeah, I think that was the plan, though. I think the plan was to put it on him, but eventually he's got to go back on Trick, because right now, and I mean, he's basically the star, at least in terms of the men of the channel, even though they have another one. And let's go into that. So
before you go, Clarence Mason was the guy.
Dude, remember Clarence?
Oh yeah, okay,
right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I wonder if I'm wrong. Was he part of the Gangsters? I wonder in ECW, because when they first, not even ECW, even before, because he was in Deep South, Cornette's thing. That's where the Gangsters started. They were in Cornette's promotion, and then they went to ECW because they fit perfectly. I feel like he might have been with them, but that's a whole other issue. If we think about, if we even dip into ECW, the Gangsters is probably one of the most popular tag teams ever in that company. And it was just two black men, just people and just convicts, criminals out there beating people up. And they brought them out, and eventually they feuded them. But they came out and they wrestled, and they had music playing the whole time. Like they would just come out, and it was just music for 15 minutes, which was really they weren't taken seriously, but they were quite the act. And the more I'm going to ask a question, and you guys think about it. Can you think of a black wrestler, a legitimate one who did well in this business, who would have been just as big if they weren't black? If they were the exact same person, but the blackness wasn't a part of the character?
I think of one that would have did even better if he hadn't been black. I feel like if Mark Henry, same World's Strongest Man background and pedigree, same size, same in-ring ability, would have did better. Because look at how they pushed the Big Show from start to finish, even with that middle part where he was face heel, and looking stupid as hell. I feel like if Mark Henry had been white, he would have had a better career overall in WWE at the end of the day. So they would have treated him a little different. Maybe took him serious early on. Because once Mark Henry got serious, especially when he started doing the
Hall
Hall of Pain, boy, man, that was my favorite Mark Henry iteration right there because he was just letting everybody have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish they would have did stuff like that in Mark Henry's prime because it would have been amazing.
You're gonna laugh when I say this, but I do think of a black wrestler that would have been bigger if they were white. And this is Sasha Banks in WWE.
Oh, dude, that makes perfect sense.
Sasha Banks in WWE, it was as good or maybe even better than Flair. I said it and I say it again. Mm-hmm. She was as good or even better than Flair. But Flair got the 15 titles of the whatever she has right now. Sasha, I think Sasha at WWE only had 3 or 4 or 5, something like that. 3 or 4 or 5. They didn't let Sasha cook.
No,
they did not. They didn't let Sasha cook at all. Sasha fought for everything she did, and yes, and probably a little biased was my daughter named Sasha. I understand that, but Sasha Banks, if white, I think would have been a fucking freaking sorry.
It's all right. Don't worry about that.
We only really did that for last episode because we.
Yeah, you good. Don't worry. That was just for that subject. We relaxed here.
I agree. Look at how they. Oh, sorry, Harvey. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I agree with you, Diandre, because imagine if they really took the wheels off her and let her do what she wanted to do. This woman, now mind you, Bayley was with her, but this woman held WWE down during the Thunderdome era. I remember there was times where I only watched to see what they was going to do when they had the both championships in the tag titles. I remember that they held that down for them so hard. Sasha was amazing. I was really sad when she left, but I was with her. I understood why she did it.
And you got rid of Sasha Banks / Monet.
Yep.
Could cook anywhere. That's the thing. She left, went to New Japan. Before that injury, was a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Took the belt. Got injured, came back, took the belt. Went to AEW, took some belts. She cooks everywhere. I believe that if Sasha was a different complexion, she would have been a legend. I don't know if she's a legend now in WWE, but she would have been a legend. Bona fide Hall of Famer.
In a few years, when she, of course, will come back because they always do. One thing I will say about Sasha, and I'm prepared for the venom that will come with this. Sasha, I think, is probably one of the few. That whole women's movement that came out of NXT and came into the main roster. Sasha, in my opinion, is probably the only woman who's a better worker than Charlotte is in that grouping. Sasha is unbelievable in the ring. She sells like nobody else. She's fantastic. Charlotte gets a lot of ish, obviously, because of her last name, but Charlotte puts Sasha to shame on the mic. Sasha is not great on the mic. She's good on the mic, but Charlotte is better. But
Charlotte is better than that. That was one of the most disrespectful things you said.
It's not.
That's one of the most disrespectful things you said.
It's okay on the mic.
I want to add a caveat to that because I agree with
Sasha
Harvey.
Banks is less to them on the mic than Charlotte fucking Flair. Charlotte Flair is not good on the mic.
Oh, get the hell out of here!
She's not good on the mic. She's nowhere near good. No, she's the fuck not.
Look. No. I agree with Harvey. Charlotte is good on the mic when she's a heel. When she's a heel. Let me finish. As a heel, when she's out there playing to her best characteristics of being a heel, she is amazing on the mic. And she's better than Sasha being a heel on the mic. However, I feel Sasha has the better range, and Sasha can play face on the mic any day way better than Charlotte ever could. Because Charlotte, when Charlotte's trying to be face, she's terrible on the mic. She's not believable. and she's not very good. So I will say this: I think Sasha has way better range on the mic than Charlotte. But if it's heel versus heel, Charlotte beats her.
I have to say, there are very few promos that I remember from Sasha where I'm like, oh my God, I'm ready for whatever match she's talking about. Charlotte, you're right. I'll give you that. She's not the best on the mic when she's a face, because I think she's so used to being a heel that it's probably hard for her to kind of play to the crowd type of thing, which is what you're doing when you're a face. But heel wise, she talks shit to the people in the crowd like nobody. And she's already got hate. People hate already because there's nepotism expected or assumed because of who her father is. But Sasha has, I've never seen a promo from Sasha where I was like, okay, wow, I'm ready for the match that she's talking about. I love to watch her work in the ring because she's unreal. The matches she had with Bayley and Charlotte, and it wasn't AJ, but she had phenomenal matches with so many great women. But I've never, even now, I'm not loving her promos in AEW. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not loving them right now. So that's my humble opinion.
So just wanted to play devil's advocate. I think y'all full of shit. I am going to. I'm going to be the odd man out here. Sasha Banks to me is not the best woman on the mic. I'm not even going. I'm not even going to just justify that. Just try to say that. Oh, she's so great on the mic. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to say either. But to say that Charlotte Flair, who's not the best talker, is better than Sasha on the mic, especially when Sasha's on. And you say what you want. You don't even watch AEW. I watch AEW religiously, and I think AEW is better than WWE. Me personally, in ring better than in WWE. Sasha Banks in AEW, Sasha Banks in New Japan promotion. That's what people, a lot of people, when not saying YouTube, saying people, wrestling fans or WWE fans, they forget about other fucking promotions.
Right.
And Sasha Banks, and when she has the restrictions, there's a lot of there's a lot of restrictions what you can do and say and talk in WWE. There's less restrictions in AEW. There's less restrictions in New Japan. When you can let Sasha cook, Sasha Banks is, to me, and again, this is not me going to WWE. This is me just looking at Sasha the whole time. She's better than Charlotte Flair on the mic.
I get what you're saying. I do want to say, well, I don't watch AEW religiously, and I don't watch all the New Japan Pro stuff. I do follow Sasha. And so when she switched over, I watched her promos. And I will say, as charismatic as she is, as good as she is, I do agree with Harvey that there is a seriousness and an intensity that at times I do feel she lacks. I feel she says stuff good, and I feel the stuff she says is great. But I do at times feel like, especially when Charlotte is saying stuff, she says it so well and so intensely when she's playing the heel that you get angry because she comes off like she in real life is really that arrogant. And I start feeling like, I bet she's really a bitch like that behind the scenes. And you want to see her get her butt kicked. But I think that's why we both kind of feel like she's better. Is there's a level of intensity that I feel like I never, even in the other places, get from Sasha.
I think for me, the concern that I have with Sasha, and it has a lot to do with what Dre said. When she was in NXT and then the main roster, she was very much handcuffed with what she can say. Her best promos are Japan because they're like, here, come in here and say what the hell you want. When she didn't have to fit into a particular character in Japan, you can come here and be like, all right, I'm coming to wrestle and I'm coming for the women's title, the IWGP World Championship, whatever, because I'm better than you. Because I'm the best woman wrestler in the world today. And there have been times where she was the best worker. And when it came there, she didn't have to do the boss stuff. She didn't have to do all the come out with the glasses and all that stuff. She came out. She was closer to Shelton Benjamin than to Sasha Banks. Come out. I'm going to outwork you. I'm better than you in the ring. And then she just came and can talk about that. That's the Sasha at her best. But when you put her in the confines of a company, which is a business, she's limited to what she can do. So she's playing this part. She's so happy to get rid of the boss gimmick because that's not her.
Mhm.
So, and Monet is still similar to that, the boss and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Charlotte, who, like it or not, grew up in this business. Her father is a legend. She knows about that. She saw promos, she saw heels, she saw faces, she saw all that stuff. She was on camera before pretty much all the women who came up in an NXT group, or whether she was working or not, she was there. So she has the inner workings. She had one of the greatest heels teach her how to cut promos. And she's amazing on the mic as a heel because she's basically saying, I'm better than you. What you going to do about it? Almost all the time. I would take her promo anytime, but that's just as usual. We can divert to a different issue. So we will agree to disagree on that.
Yeah.
So I think what I was asking is, if in terms of Black wrestlers, who the fact that they're Black is always a part of their character, I kind of like I would just like a character who the fact that they're Black isn't part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a good wrestler. It's not the fact that I'm Black. So like you talked about Apollo Crews, what did they do? All of a sudden they had him find where was he from? Was he Nigerian or Ghana? Wherever he was from.
He's the Nigerian prince.
A Nigerian
prince. He's Nigerian prince.
Yeah. What white wrestler comes up and like, listen. And actually, I was going to say that, then I think about it. Some wrestlers are that way, who they base their whole character on where they're from. I don't know. Because I'm like, who?
That was Coffee when Coffee first started, when he was from Ghana.
Oh, yeah. Coffee. Yeah, all that. And some of it is their charisma, but they take their charisma and they like turn up the volume. Like I love Kofi, but the boom drop, that was a little extra. He could have dropped the leg. I was like, why he would run off the ropes, stand there, boom, boom, boom. Like eventually I'm like, if somebody's standing next to me, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Didn't even do it, but I just realized everyone has Black people has a run to the rope dance move, boom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kofi had the boop boop. Rock had people's elbow, which is this is a dance move. EVP had the balling. Like there's a lot of people that have the fucking Black people that has like
Naomi does the one where she hits the rope and splits.
Like there's a lot of stylish. I'm gonna call it dance moves. I'm gonna call it stylish off the rope moves for Black people for some reason.
And truthfully, and Sasha Mercedes, let's just go by her. That's her real name, Mercedes, is not a good dancer, like at all. Like she would come out, and that's kind of part of her thing. She has to do that as part of the character when she was Sasha, and come out and and shake and do whatever. That's not her thing. She's a worker. She's a wrestler. She sells. She's the best woman seller thing I've ever seen. Like she's ridiculous. And I just want these wrestlers to just be wrestlers. I don't want to have to be like, I think maybe the way Jade is represented, because Jade is just, but even her, she is like this statuesque, just gorgeous, athletic ridiculousness. And like, she's like what China would be if she looked like was bigger and better shape. Jade is just even taller and I just want to be able to come out and work. But she can't work it.
My only thing about that, is there a wrestler, at least a Black wrestler, that, well, it's gonna be hard to say doesn't dance, but doesn't come out and do all the bullshit, and can work and can talk.
Okay.
All three.
No. Yeah. But the talking thing, I feel like all you need is a mouthpiece, because I feel like Obi Femi, he don't really do the bullshit. He can work in the ring for sure. Like I feel like he's what they want Omos to be.
Well, Obi can talk though. No. Obi can talk. Obi promos. Obi promos not bad.
He's not bad at the mic. Yeah, I feel like he's the closest thing to that for sure.
Obi has that athletic presence. He's a beast. He's absolutely ridiculous. Him and Jade are the same if you think about it. Like when they brought Jade out, it's all the smoke and the lights and everything, and she stands there and she does a pose because she's ridiculous. He's her, obviously bigger, wider. And with wrestlers like that, you don't need a long time on the mic.
No.
You need, I don't like you, I'm going to kick your ass, and then leave. Certain wrestlers' presence should be enough. And Obi, when they bring him, and I don't know, they're bring him out, and maybe they'll have him go up against, I don't know who's big, because they're gonna have to get him up against somebody, either a really good worker or somebody as big as him. But he doesn't need to do a lot of talking. And hopefully we get to the point, because they're gonna bring him in and put him in some random match or feud him with somebody.
You know what they're gonna do. All the big giants or big monster people.
Yeah, he's gonna come in and squash.
They're gonna come in, squash small people, and then they're gonna see. They'll give him a mid card feud to see what we can do. If he can't do it, then he's gonna get run out. I mean,
either that or he's gonna be somebody's bodyguard.
I don't know. I think between Triple H and HBK, I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to, when they bring him, they will do something with him. We should be seeing him soon, actually, because he's not a champ anymore. That shit I hated too. Like this dude that took the belt off of him, nah. That I'm like, yeah, I don't think Diandre shouldn't have been the dude, but it is what it is.
I don't think we're gonna see him yet, because I think they're gonna put the NXT championship on him before they'll bring him up to the main roster. I think we'll see Trick before we see Obi.
There's rumors that's coming up.
I think Obi's done. I think there's rumors that he said goodbye to them already and whatever. I think they bring him up. I think they bring him up and they put him in some group. Like, had they figured this out earlier, I don't know if he would have been an interesting new member of New Day instead of the other dude.
Orlando,
having him come out would have been crazy.
What?
I don't know.
And if they don't split the Street Profits, having him come out, maybe join the Street Profits could be interesting.
They need to split the Street Profits. They need to split them. They need to. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they did, because I didn't see. I watched YouTube.
They kind of teased it, but they didn't do nothing yet.
I want them to be done, but with what happened on SmackDown, they now have I think they have a program they got to run now, so they're not gonna get rid of him yet.
I don't know what happened there. All I saw they punched Buddy in the face and they walked out. That's all I saw. I didn't see the backstage shit for it. What I would say is that for Obi, the best thing you can do for me personally is let him sit for a little bit, bring him back for a Royal Rumble, let him be a beast in the Royal Rumble. Let him be one of the surprise picks.
Yep.
Let him be a beast. I'm not saying let him win, even though, God of truth, I don't know as right now. Right now, I start seeing who's got the heat on them to win both the women's and men's Royal Rumble. I don't have anybody that has heat on them like that to win both those matches. So, which is actually a good thing too, because I hate being right most of the time.
Okay, I'm gonna leave this for you guys to think about, and this will be kind of off the subject, but I think I have a pretty good idea who's going to win the Royal Rumble for the men and the women. I want you guys to think about this before we end the episode. Each of you throw out who you think is going to win. But we'll do so. That's something to consider. All right. In terms of the Street Profits, go ahead.
You go ahead. No, let's stay on next. I'm gonna change the subject. So
right. What I was gonna say, I think with the Street Profits, you have one of the few times you have a tag team where legitimately both of them can go run and can do something. Legitimately, they are both ridiculous in the ring. They both can do it. Most times, there's usually one guy who's the star. But I think with Street Profits, when you end them, when you break them off, they both can do something. Put one on SmackDown, one on Raw, and let them run. I think you can actually do that.
You do have a star. No offense to D'Angelo, but
Montez is definitely the
Montez is a star.
I agree with
you. I'm just saying Dawkins is not Marty.
No.
Right.
He's not Marty. He's not Marty. He's not at all. I'm not saying Marty at all. I don't want to see get sweet chin music and throwing two glass and start smoking crack. I don't want to do that shit. But
just keep in mind, being Marty is not a bad thing. Marty, truthfully, was as good in the ring as Shawn was. The problem was that he had his demons, and that's the reason he didn't go. But Marty was as good in the ring as Shawn was, and they had a feud, and they brought him back. He could have done something, but he was his own worst enemy.
my thing about Dawkins is the fact that he can go in the ring.
Mhm.
Montez actually won a couple matches in the ring. I think Dawkins is over for singles competition
because they weren't pushing. Yeah, you could tell that.
But to me personally, and again, it's just different between my thinking and people thinking. You to be a really legit star, you need a finisher.
Mm-hmm.
You need a finisher. And Dawkins doesn't have a finisher. Montez has actually two finishers. He has the
From the heavens,
from the heavens, and he has something else. I forgot what it was. But he has two finishers. Montez is actually the star. When they break up, you will see WWE push the shit out of Montez for a couple of reasons. One, he's overall better on the mic and in the ring, and two, who his wife is.
Mm-hmm.
That plays a part.
Right, and I agree. And honestly, my thoughts on the Street Profits, if you split them, because I think they could still be successful as a tag team together for a little bit longer. The problem is every time WWE tries to wrap up the aggression, make them heels, like what they did with Bobby, they end up pulling them back. However, I feel like if you split them, to make sure Dawkins is successful, I think Dawkins needs to go to NXT. Let Montez run with it. Let Dawkins go to NXT, spend some time reinventing himself, figuring out who he is as a singles competitor, so he can come back with that finisher. I want them to do the normal, we split and we feud, and then whoever wins the feud is the star, and the other person goes off on the other show and tries to have a single thing, because it does not work most of the time. I'd rather see him just go off, do his own little thing off the side, let Montez run with it, and then come back and then maybe throw him in a feud then. That's my thoughts.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with the Street Profits, because WWE is known for when you get a tag team and it's time to break them up, the big guy turns on the little guy, the same turn and blah, blah, blah. It's the same crap. And then the second guy just kind of fades away into nothingness. And I hope that the fact that they haven't pushed Montez already is absolutely insane.
Oh,
just it's crazy. And I feel like, and this is just my thought, Bianca at some point, because they're starting to get boring. They're really boring with her and Jade. Like, we're hitting her, we're just watching. Just have them fucking feud. Do something with their tag team champ, and there's nobody for them to match. There's nobody. We don't care about the fact that they're champs. Like, there should be 4 or 5 legitimate female tag teams for them to feud with. They brought it's Liv and what's her name, which is just separate them, let them feud. Jade needs to come up and do something. And I feel like when they finally get it, I feel like Montez and Bianca together should come up. I feel like
power couple,
as a heel couple would be crazy. Imagine had Dom and oh my god,
just whooping people.
They kept Dom and Mommy together. And then you have Montez and her, and they come up, and then
that'd be a feud.
There's potential, but they don't know what to do with it. But, we digress.
Before we go on, do it feel like, I mean, and I've heard it's good to what sounds going, but do it feel like the black tag teams are breaking up? All of them. Because the Street Profits are breaking up. We got New Day that's going to break up, and we have Jaden. We know it from the promo 2 weeks ago that Jaden and Bianca's going to break up. Does it feel like all the black tag teams are breaking up?
It does feel that way. Normally, I feel like some kind of way about it, but it all seems very natural the way it's happening. But I agree. I think the only black tag team you have that's not splitting up, and that's just because they've only been on the scene a little bit, is the Metaphor Girls.
I forgot about them. What's her name?
Well, I was going to ask you, what do you guys think about Lash Legend? Because I'm kind of a fan. Like, I feel like she's a homegrown Jade Cargill, because when she was in NXT and she hosted Otis up and Samoan dropped him, I was impressed as hell. And she's not bad on the mic.
I need to see more from Lash Legend. I know. I'm saying it. I need to see more. That one fatal 4-way match with her as a tag team. I need to see her do more in NXT by herself. She was in that faction, and she was actually probably matchup. I saw the guy that won a cup was a star of that faction.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't know with her. She didn't get a belt. She didn't get a shot at the belt. She got one shot at the belt. That's it. You need to do more with her for that, and then I'll be more of a fan and be more of a hype train. But she hasn't done anything, and I'm going to go off with what you said. What you did too. I'm talking about main event. I'm talking about people that we actually know.
Okay.
Black tag teams are breaking up. I'm not saying this as
100%.
always a bad thing. I'm not saying it's all a bad thing because we all knew for a fact that Bianca and Jay was going to be a feud, at least for WrestleMania. The New Day and she probably started getting stale. They're not selling. They're not doing anything. They need to break up. I understand that, but it does seem like at one time, just one time, that all the black tag teams are breaking up.
It's
Right,
definitely happening. It's definitely
100%. Yeah. Well, and I mean, there's also hardly any black tag teams. Like you have 3 of them. You know,
there's hardly any tag teams if you think about it. WWE doesn't love tag team wrestling. They
definitely don't.
Right, and that's the problem.
And I told Josh this, and Josh got mad. I'm gonna say this ago, and you can mad if you went. WWE roster is better than AEW roster overall.
I agree.
The NXT women's roster is by far the best women's roster in any fucking faction. Let's get their hands down. AEW tag team division is better than WWE tag team division. I'm not trying to hear that shit. Yeah, and then Josh tried to argue with that.
You said the same thing because what I was arguing, I wasn't arguing that the tag team division AEW wasn't better. I said there are wrestlers that are tag teams in WWE that can hang with the AEW roster. However, I do agree. AEW handles their tag teams better. They have real tag teams, and overall, their tag team division is heads above WWE's. However, WWE has tag teams that can hang with and are even better than some of the tag teams in AEW. That's all I was saying. But I agree 100%. AEW's tag team is better. I love tag team wrestling, and I honestly wish WWE did better with their tag team wrestling.
Man, the tag team division is not good. They bring in Motor City. I was never a big fan of Motor City. I'm not gonna lie. Personally, I wasn't like. I'm not saying they suck. I'm saying that I wasn't like head over heels. Oh, they're here, and obviously the fans. Now, do you see when they come out? Those fans are quiet as hell. You hear a pin drop.
This was badly done. This was stupid.
Pin drop.
The way they handled it was bad. But they've not liked tag wrestling. This company has not really been a fan of tag team wrestling. As a reminder, you guys know, me watching wrestling, I grew up watching NWA, WCW. Back then, tag teams would main event pay-per-views. So that's the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, the Russians, Arn and Ole. They had you have to focus on it. You have to make that the storyline and push them out. WWE doesn't like that because they think these straight up singles wrestlers is the way to go. But
they put our couple together.
And then, they do it dumb. Like, I hate, they always like, the world champion and his enemy, his worst enemy. Let's make them tag team champions for no damn reason. Stupid things. And it just minimizes the tag teams or the really big tag team. They'll have them feud with the big star champ 1 week, and then that guy will beat the tag team champs. Like, they don't take tag team wrestling very far, but that's not like a black issue. That's just bad booking issues in terms of these companies.
Oh, 100%.
When I was watching AEW and I watched that last match between, was it Private Party versus the Young Bucks? And I'm like, they about to break up Private Party. And to see them beat them, I was so freaking happy to see that. Because I've had enough of the Young Bucks. I'm like, good, get the hell out of here. But that was a great match.
You can have like no what, but Young Bucks is one of the best tag teams of all time. I'm not denying.
They're one of the best professional wrestling tag teams out there. Definitely from the group, from the time that we're in now, where the super kick now is just like a regular hold. they've taken it and they've just kind of whatever. But end of that. So, all right. I think here's the way we can do it. I'll kind of end it on this because it's kind of hard to kind of have this conversation. Each of you, if there was one professional wrestler, black professional wrestler, that you could show some black kid that you know who's just getting into wrestling, who would it be? It could be alive, dead, it doesn't matter what the promotion is. One professional black wrestler that you would show to some kid for them to love, to look up to follow, who would it be and why? Either one of you can start.
I'll start. No, off top of my head, I'm gonna say Swerve. Off top of my head, I'm gonna say Swerve. I'm going to. I legit try to stay away from WWE because for a couple of reasons. If I'm doing what you asked me to, say, hey, black kid, look at this black wrestler to do this. I'm going to stay away from WWE for a couple of reasons. One, I want to. I know we love all the WWE we do. Josh and I probably are going to see WWE when it comes to Portland in a month or two. I love WWE. I'm going to always watch WWE, but there's other promotions that you can be great at that's not WWE. Yes, WWE was the money is. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to even think about saying thing different. But there's other promotions where you can be great and still get money. By the way, because he opened his wallet to get money to those contracts. Swerve is as the last 12 months is probably the best wrestler in the world. In the last 12 months, his matches are amazing. They are brutal. He can get technical and he can get brutal. And those brutal matches are chef kiss brutal matches. All right. He is going to the mic, even though he has a manager.
Yep. He's better than his manager on the mic all day. Mm-hmm.
He can do everything you ask of him. He doesn't act like a thug, even though he has that thug appeal. He's relatable to everybody. Everybody loves him. If I'm going to tell this, hey, little black kid, you were talking to wrestling, I'm going to push him around with Swerve right now.
Okay.
I will mention his ex tag team partner and actor WWE, Keith Lee. I love fucking Keith Lee. NXT Keith Lee was so goddamn good. So fucking good. He did everything right. He could talk. If you didn't understand that, Keith Lee could talk.
No, he was brilliant on the mic. And he
was a good talk.
The normal talk either.
Yeah. He was fucking amazing in the ring. He was so goddamn good in the ring. And then WWE fucked us. Fucked us hard. That Bearcat shit was
they ruined him.
Right?
Absolutely ruined him.
One of the best. I know Harvey going to disagree with me, but to me, one of the best, not the best Survivor Series was that triple threat 5-man Survivor Series.
Oh, 100%.
NXT, SmackDown, WWE, when it was Keith Lee and Roman Reigns at the end of that Survivor Series match was fucking fire, and Keith Lee stole the fucking show.
In that Royal Rumble.
3 plus, 350, 345, 350, and nimble on his tickets. But in the end, that's what kind of threw him off because he was so good on his feet. But it's not good for the knees when you weigh that much to be able to move around like that. But Josh, what's your answer to that, bro? What you think?
So I watched the other stuff a little bit, but I'm a big WWE fan. You know, I'm becoming less and less so because I really feel like with the leadership of the company, they got something against black people. I felt like Vince had it, and when Vince left, I was hoping it'd be different, but I feel like we ain't seen much different under Triple H. And his answer when he was called out on the fact that they don't really feature black champions on their PLEs, I didn't like his answer because it's the typical I don't see color answer. That said, to answer your question, I was actually going to go with Swerve as well. Because when you look at what he was in WWE, and what they try to have him as. And then you look at when he said, no, I'm going to bet on myself and took his ass to AEW and what he became. It's amazing to me. You're right. He right now is one of the best wrestlers in the world. He has it all. And on top of it, he got paid. He got paid, which is another thing that pissed me off about WWE. WWE never be having shit to say about people's paychecks except for Mercedes Moné. Oh, she got paid too much. And Swerve Strickland. Oh, we don't think he's worth that much, which is bullshit. That the only times they got something to say about what somebody's getting paid is when they black. However, yeah, I want to show them because regardless of if it's WWE or anywhere else, just like you said, DeAndre, you can go there and you could be successful, bet on yourself. And he's probably the pinnacle of black excellence in wrestling right this moment.
Also, if I'm going to do for little girls as well, I'm going to say again, I'm going to say Sasha again. I'm going to say Sasha again because Sasha, we agree or disagree about what she's doing in the mic, but her ring skills everywhere,
100%.
as far enough.
Yeah.
Or Mercedes Moné.
Bianca as an honorable mention because even though she WWE homegrown and propped up, she still be amazing in the ring what she do. And I'll be proud to show any black girl that, especially because apparently she gonna be the new Undertaker here soon. She already got a four WrestleMania streak, and I'm hearing they about to keep it going.
That'd be interesting.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So for me, if there was one, I've been debating it because I actually had Swerve as one of the people on my list. But if I had to pick one wrestler, black wrestler for a kid to pick to watch, it'd be Shelton. Okay. Shelton is who I would go with. Shelton is what a professional athlete should be. He's not the best on the mic or whatever, but he was so good. He's had this career without being amazing on the mic. And that's what I would pick. If you want to see somebody come up, and he came up and they put him in the world's best tag team and then had him go and him and Haas, and they were amazing. He could work. He was so good that the fact that he couldn't talk, he was still a star. What they did to him afterwards is annoying as hell. But if you want to be a wrestler in that whole group, and they talk about that group, it's Cena, it's Batista, it's Randy Orton, it's Shelton, it's Brock. The best athlete in that group was Shelton. The best imposing looking one was Brock. But Shelton is the guy who should have been the biggest star out of that group. But stuff happens, whatever. In terms of women, and that's a good question. To me, Sasha probably. There's nobody else, to be honest. It has to be Sasha. Because Sasha, Jackie couldn't talk. Jackie couldn't talk.
Here's a conversation we're gonna have later because I know we go over time.
Right.
Do you really need to talk to be a good fucking wrestler? Only because his thing, not even with Jackie, but Awesome Kong. Again, I'm trying to go away from WWE.
Right.
But Awesome Kong. I mean, not Awesome Kong. Fuck's her name?
Wait. Well, she was Karma in WWE, but what are you thinking of?
Yeah, Awesome Kong. The WWE got pregnant and left.
Yeah, pregnant and left.
Yeah. That's Awesome Kong. Yeah.
But in TNA, she was a beast. She couldn't talk for shit.
Right.
but she was a beast.
She had a mouthpiece. She had a mouthpiece.
I agree with you that you should not need to talk to be good, because I will tell you there are wrestlers with good characters who can't wrestle for shit, like you were saying earlier, that I like. However, there have been many wrestlers that I can't stand at first because I'm like, you ain't got no fucking personality. And then I see them in the ring and they wrestle so damn good, I don't care anymore about their personality. I'm tuning in every time they're matching because they just can go in the ring.
Okay. And who was that person that became champion?
Oh, I'm getting to that. I'm getting there. I'm not done saying.
Go ahead.
That said, people like me that see that are few and far between. So I do think, unfortunately, especially in WWE, if you want to make it to the pinnacle, you either have to talk, have to have a good character, or have to have a mouthpiece to go along with your good wrestling before they're going to be able to be like, oh yeah, you know, before the fans will be like, hey, you wrestle so good, we don't care if you can't talk. The only person I can really think of who wrestles so good It had no good character, couldn't really talk, that made it to the pinnacle.
But the women,
unfortunately, is Benoit.
Benoit couldn't talk with shit. Well, Benoit couldn't talk with shit. However, though, for a black woman outside WWE, you gotta go Amber Moon or Athena.
Yeah,
Athena. Athena can't really talk, but she can go on the fucking ring.
lips.
And she's amazing.
She's an ROH champion. I mean, right now she's still the ROH women's champion. Still, I think. Fucking beast. Problem.
All right. So this is good conversation. I think, and yeah, we have to narrow this down. So we got to get to it. So I think we all agree that we all love wrestling. We love this business. We want to be properly represented in the business, but we don't like the stereotypical crap, all the extra stuff. You can just be a black wrestler and just be good at what you do and not be the fact that you're black is what makes you a star. Technically, if you think about it, WWF's best and most popular black wrestler is John Cena. If you think about it, he won. He's the best black wrestler they've ever had because they stuck the blackness on him, and his retiring next year is going to be the biggest story they have of the year. So let's end this with whatever thoughts you may have in terms of black representation in wrestling, and who are your picks to be the winner of the Royal Rumble for the men and for the women. And we'll start with, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Josh. You have something?
I was just going to offer to start first. But
Josh, then please go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So real quick, like you said, I mean, honestly, Harvey, you wrapped it up better than I could ever wrap it up. I love wrestling. And I will 100% acknowledge that where it used to be, as far as black representation, where it is now, is much better. But just like racism in this country, to get serious for a moment, we still have work to do, and it can still be much better. So I want to see it continue to trend in that way, because I would love to see it, like you said, Harvey, where we have great black wrestlers that are out there doing great things, and it has nothing to do with the race. They're just being them. That'd be great. As far as my picks for the Rumble, I got a controversial one for the men's Rumble. I'm going with The Rock. That's my pick, for him to come in, win the men's Rumble, and then have a match against whoever's the undisputed title champion, whether that's Roman or whether that's Cody, or they make into a triple threat. That's my men's pick. For the women's pick for that, I'm going with Charlotte Flair.
Okay, I can see that. All right, D.
I'm going to be pissed as all hell. You will not hear the word. If the fucking Rock wins the goddamn Royal Rumble, I am going to be highly upset, because I am one of those people that, I'm one of the people that be like, yo, there's so much good talent. You don't need to do that shit for somebody older.
Just because I picked it don't mean I want to see it. I just believe
I'm not saying you are, but if that happens, I'm going to be pissed. However, though, I do agree with the route that Josh says for the Royal Rumble picks. I don't see any heat on anyone right now to win the men's Royal Rumble. You can't really give the Tiffy, because Tiffy has the Money in Bank that she ain't used to yet. You that'd be too much.
Agreed.
I don't see anyone that's there with the heat on them right now. So actually, thinking about it, because Charlotte got to come back, I probably will pick Charlotte to win this.
Yeah, her, Becky.
Well, I remember not behalf of my Becky Lynch. She's horrible in the ring. She's horrible in the ring. It is what it is. So I will probably go Charlotte Flair for women's.
Okay.
For men.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. For men, like the same problem. There's no heat on anyone right now. You can yeet it if you want to, but that means that he has to pick up the pin at War Games for some reason. You got to put more heat on him. You can have Gunther lose the Intercontinental the champion and have him win it. but that'd be dumb as hell. There's no legit heat. Kevin Owens would be a good one, actually, God's truth. Kevin Owens would be good. Actually, you know what? That's my high stake, like deep ball Hail Mary pick. I'm going Kevin Owens. I'm going Kevin Owens for as far as heat.
All right. For me, I got two. Well, I have a few men. I only have one woman. For me, I think the woman who's going to win the Royal Rumble is Chelsea Green. I think she's the one. I think last year she got such a pop. People love her. And I think next year, I think she wins the Royal Rumble. And then this run of her running around trying to become champ, and she'll run out there and then something stupid will happen and she won't check in and whatever. I think it'll be hilarious. I think she's the one that wins. That's my pick for the women.
I wouldn't be mad at it. I like Chelsea.
I would love that. I would love that. Her rise. She's one of the more popular women out there.
And she can wrestle.
Her with what's in it. And she can work. And she's good.
Yeah.
For the men, I literally have 4 people who I think. And I'll give you the order. These are the 4 I think, and my number 1, which would be the last person, is the person I think will actually get it. Number 4 on my list, and this is hopeful. I hope Montez Ford has blown up enough that he gets that win. But I don't know if that's going to happen. So he's 4. 3 is LA Knight. He's over, and you haven't watched SmackDown yet, so I don't know if you know somebody came back. So I don't want to ruin it for you.
Oh, I see Shinsuke watch.
Okay, so if they want to get the belt off of him and get his run towards being a world champ, that's the way to do it. You can put the belt on Shinsuke, and then LA Knight can make his run.
So I'm so sorry. Sorry, I'd like to cut you off. I know this is Black Lives Matter about black problems, but WWE for Asian problems as well. They do not like to put the belts on Asian or Asians. I saw the woman. I forgot her name.
Io Sky.
No.
Oh, Oscar.
The women, period. They will throw the belts at Asian women, but for the men, Shinsuke should have won that.
He should have taken the belt off of AJ. So long.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
So, but again, it's a black women that Asian like me. So there you go.
Number 2, I think, and it depends a lot on what they do with this character. I could very much see Jacob Fatu winning. Mm-hmm. He has come up and they've made him like unbeatable, unstoppable. And if you put him in this thing and he could win it, but I think the guy who will win, who has more heat in this business than anyone, and it would be ridiculous, we would be so pissed, is Dom. If you have Dom win, because at some point he's going to be world champion. At some point, Dominic is going to be world champion. He would be interesting to see him win the Royal Rumble, because then what happens?
I agree with you.
I think Dom would be crazy as the one. I think Dom would be crazy.
I agree with you. Dom is a future champ. It's going to happen because he's so over. They like his character. And if he gets even just a little bit better in the ring, I think it will work.
I think he is a few months away from being the biggest face in wrestling. He's coming because the fact that he can't.
Because I don't think he can maintain it. I think he turns, pops huge, and I think for like 2 or 3 months, he's a big face, but then he's boring. I think he has to stay heel to be over. But I think he could be one of those heels that people like to cheer for.
I think that.
Oh, yeah, sorry, go.
Sorry, I think that if you want to do it for Dom, you got to give him 1 more year. You do. You really got to give him 1 more year. You can't. After everything happened so much time, I feel like this would be a little too rushed. I'm not disagreeing with you. At first, I was going to, but I thought about it. You really want to do that next year. You really do. Mm-hmm. Keep the heat on him as a heel for a little bit. Break up with and by the summer, break up with Liv, and then start that turn for him and see how it goes. Because I do think Josh is right. He'll be explosive for like 4 or 5 months, and that's where you want to give him that right there. So I do agree with both of you. I just don't think it should be this one. Now, again, I know I said Kevin Owens, but I forgot something. I forgot something that was said this year. Now I got to change my pick. I'm going to hit it, but it is what it is. I am going Cena to win this.
Yeah, I could see.
I'm going Cena to win it because this is his last year. I forgot about it. This is last year. His last match is going to be at WrestleMania. It will be probably him versus Gunther.
I can see that because I heard they really, really want to let him beat Flair's.
Yeah.
You can say whatever the hell you want. Put that belt on him 100 times. He's not matching Flair. That's some bullshit. That's whatever.
All y'all threw out
that's
extra pick for the men's.
What? Yeah, Cena.
I gotta throw out my secondary pick real quick because if it ain't The Rock,
if they don't put a belt on that man. They're going to, but don't put a belt on Cena. Who do you want to build? Use him to build somebody. That's who you do. They should be focusing. Let him have some. If you know what, give him the United States title or something, and let him do the John Cena Invitational every week. Have him wrestle some young guys, come up and give them TV time. But don't put him in the final. He does not deserve to be world champion. Doesn't.
He's going to come out. He's going to come out number 30.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come out number 30, and he's going to get the small pop, the small big pop that he going to deserve. He's going to throw out, but probably like CM Punk, and then he's going to win the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna play
that's entirely true.
Because Harvey, you said they need to use him to build somebody, and honestly, I think even if he does win the belt at WrestleMania, they can still use him to build somebody because then whoever is that young upcoming heel in Cena's career, in Cena's run, we know this is short. This is Cena's retirement run. Whoever retires Cena takes the belt off him and he ends his career is getting a major pop. But as we know, WWE doesn't do a good job actually utilizing that the way they should at all times. But I think if they utilize that right, they could take somebody like a Jacob Fatu and make him a freaking megastar, put a rock on his back and just to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And then because y'all all picked the secondary pick, I gotta pick my secondary pick. And if it ain't The Rock, is CM Punk again for the second time, right? Wait, no, Cody won last year,
right?
For the second time. So yeah, CM Punk. Yeah. So that's my pick. If it ain't The Rock, it's CM Punk.
Mm-hmm. All right, boys, we could talk wrestling forever. As much as we try to keep it black, representation, we just started talking wrestling. This was a great conversation. Black representation is in everything, in every form of entertainment, in society. It's everywhere, and it's rampant in wrestling. And if I can say anything, I just want to watch wrestling and not feel like there's a different feeling when people look like me come out and wrestle. So this was a good conversation. Diandre, we're going to start with you as we end it. Where can people find you? Thank you for coming on and talking about Black representation in professional wrestling. Let them know where we can.
All right. So thank you both for having me on. This is always fun. Big thing about Masturbators. So you can find me on Masturbators podcast, which is getting a lot of love nowadays. Big shout out to Riverside, son. We're doing very well with that, and we are bringing back the 3 Count, which is a wrestling podcast, Masturbators 3 Count Wrestling Podcast. And we will be recording legitly, and then when I say legitly, even if it's by myself, we'll be recording legitly after Survivor Series. And it's just a ranking match podcast. So what match? When people say a match, we're going to talk about it. We're going to say this is the best match. This is the 3rd best match. This is the 5th best match. We're going to have an overall ranking with it. So that should be fun. I need to find some more co-hosts for that though. Even like you said, even though if it's me, if it's Josh, if it's Harvey, whoever, we will be doing all PLEs. All PLEs and legitimately right after all PLEs. So I'm glad to talk about this. It's always talk about blackness and wrestling. And we'll see you guys later.
Yeah, thanks for joining us again, man. Always a pleasure to have you on, DeAndre. Love getting your perspective, and just always great to talk about this kind of things with other black men. Um, my name's Josh, aka J Time, and along with having the wonderful, wonderful gift of being able to be one of DeAndre's co-hosts on the Master Bears Brecker Review Show, along with being co-network members with both of you gentlemen on the I Did Not Make These Rankings podcast network. I am also one of the co-hosts of Toontastic Journeys podcast, where we talk about cartoons. And we have an episode dropping today, me and my co-host CJ, covering the Thanksgiving movie Freebirds. So look out for that. I'll be dropping it probably here in the next hour or two.
Fantastic. This was a great conversation, boys. As usual, black men, we always have an interesting but different perspective on every subject that we have. And that's kind of how I want to end this with professional wrestling. I think we all want to not be a monolith. We don't want to be seen as this, that we all fit into this box. We don't all have to be shucking and jiving. We don't all have to be dancing. We all don't have to be these fine black women doing these same dancing, shaking their ass and doing whatever. We can be black in a multitude of ways. And if you do that, every black person who watches professional wrestling will be represented. Because not everybody looks like Bobby Lashley. Not everybody's a beast like that guy. Not everybody looks like Ron Simmons. Some people look like Swerve. Swerve is big, but he's not that big. Not everybody is a talker like The Rock. Not everybody has all that exuberance. Sometimes they're calm like Shelton. But black, anything is like the rainbow with different colors, with different shades, with different everything. So this is just a reminder. Be who you are. Be black like you. I'm going to be black like me. And we'll talk again next week. Have a good one.